We talk about billions of dollars all the time.
$1 billion.
Having $1 billion is the pinnacle of the American dream. If you're a billionaire, good job. You answer to no one, and your decisions affect the lives of everyone else. You've not only won at capitalism, but you've unlocked God mode, and you've got all the cheat codes. Best of all, you get to watch as everyone else stands around and says, "Must be nice," while they figure out how to afford health insurance. But how much is $1 billion really? Is it an amount you can actually earn? How about if you worked 40 hours a week at a $15 minimum wage? Working 52 weeks a year with no vacation makes for an annual salary of $31,200 before taxes. So 1 billion divided by that means it would take you 32,051 years. Maybe you just need a better job. What if you're in the top 10% of earners and you make $500,000 a year? Only 2,000 years to earn $1 billion. So if Jesus got $500,000 every year for Christmas / his birthday, it would have taken him until the year 2000 to have $1 billion. Even if you made $1 million a year, you'd still need to work for 1,000 years to get $1 billion. I'm not going to get into what it actually does take to make $1 billion. Most billionaires have published a book that explains all that. The issue is that $1 billion is such a massive amount of money that it's almost impossible to understand it. There are already some great videos out there to help paint a more accurate picture of this number, but I wanted to try it myself. Before trying to understand $1 billion, I thought, why not just try thinking about $1? Does that even mean anything? If someone came up to me and handed me $1, I'd feel pretty good about it. If I'm hungry, I can turn that dollar into some delicious food. If I go to this store, I can buy anything I see. So yay, $1 makes sense. I wondered what it would be like to have 1 billion of them stacked in a line. How far could I get? To make it 100 times easier, I went to the bank and got a stack of 100 $1 bills. I felt like kind of a big shot walking around with a stack like that. I considered taking out 1,000, but I had some bills on auto pay, so I wasn't about to risk an overdraft just for a YouTube video. To really imagine the thickness of $1 billion wad, I needed to convert dollars to distance. Using some super precise calipers, I found that $1 is 0.1 millimeters thick. I'm using metric because it's better. So my stack of $100 should be 10 millimeters. That checked out. I was visiting my parents at my childhood home in the suburbs of Detroit when I shot this. When I left the first time to make my way in the world, I left with $0. This seemed like a good place to start my measurement. This is how far out the door I got with my $100 wad. To get 1 meter, it would take $10,000. Since I didn't have that much in cash, I would have to measure and use my imagination. If I had had $10,000 to start me off, I hopefully would have gotten a lot farther than 1 meter. $100,000 is 10 meters, which gets me out to the front lawn. $100,000 is basically a decent salary these days. To get to $1 million, I'd need to go 100 meters, or about the length of a football field. According to the measuring thing on my phone, that would get me to about the end of the block. Having $1 million used to be the big dream. If you were a millionaire, you had it all. Now $1 million won't even buy you a 2-bedroom in Los Angeles. To get to 10 million, I needed a new way to measure. I had to drive for a kilometer, which was just up the road a bit. Along the way, I met this turkey. This was already an unbelievably long trail of dollar bills to leave on the road. When I got to 10 kilometers, I had $100 million behind me. I was already well on my way out of town, but to get to $1 billion, I needed to drive 100 kilometers. Luckily, I was headed back to my home in western New York. This little experiment was turning into a road trip. I drove and drove, imagining the dollar bills pouring out the back of my car, $100 every centimeter. I drove for a full hour until I reached Toledo. I looked in my rearview mirror and imagined a stack of money 100 kilometers long running down the center of the highway. That swagger I felt when holding my centimeter stack of $100 was replaced by a feeling of pathetic insignificance. When I finally reached my home, about $7 billion away, I realized that if I went back and scooped up every dollar, I would still only be number 134 on the Forbes 400 list. To make it to the top, to the Elon Musk level of $251 billion, I would need to drive for another 25,000 kilometers, another 10 days straight. Side note, there are only about 14 billion $1 bills in circulation, so even if I collected every single dollar bill from every person in every bank in the world, I would still need to do it 18 more times to put that much money behind my car. When we think in terms of billions of dollars, it seems like no big deal. You can go from $1 million to $1 billion just by changing a letter, but this one little letter represents a journey into a new financial reality that's completely different from what most of us are forced to deal with. At this level, the connection between dollars and real life is completely gone. The world of the billionaire is a black hole, sucking up other money, generating more money for itself, exponentially siphoning the lifeblood of the economy, sometimes spinning off to form pools of wealth for others, but far more often draining the energy from a system originally designed to allow equal opportunity to all its participants. But maybe if we understood the massive mind-boggling scale of the wealth gap, we might start to question its inevitability. Most rants about massive economic disparity would leave you there with a sense of dread and maybe an ad that connects you to a mental health professional. At Commingle, we're working on a new way to think about money. We're building a tool that lets people pool their finances and share money to help fight income inequality on a weekly basis. Stay tuned for more.